Welcome to Live with Candace Parisi. I am Candace Parisi, and this is a question and answer format. On Mondays and Wednesdays, I'm here Facebook Live, hanging out with you, doing psychic readings and mediumship, and I'm a spiritual teacher and an intuitive counselor, and this is a great place to get a reading. If this is your first time being around an intuitive or a psychic, welcome. If this is your 1000th time being around an intuitive and psychic, welcome. And hi Natasha, how are you? I'm excited about our reading this week. Yes. Hi Linda, how are you? Good. Hi Lori, how are you doing? Hi, Debbie. Thank you, GM. Hi, Sandra. How are ya? Hi, Winnie. Good. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for hanging out with me. Happy Monday. Hi, Teddy. I'm excited to speak with you, too. Thank you, Lori, for sharing. This is our mug today. What does it say? It says "Be Mine" with a heart. Hi, Patty. How are you? Hi, Deborah. Hi, Lynn. Hi, Miss Barrows. Hi, Barbara. Good. Hi, Anne Marie. Hi, Patty. Hi, Lynn. Good. Well, welcome. Hi, Barbara. I'm going to be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. And so if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I am going to be answering, hi, Anne. I'm going to be answering every 25th person, as many people as possible, starting in the middle. And then, hi, Laura. Hi, Christine. And then at the end, I'm going to pull a card for everybody here. Hi, Ruby. And so stick around for that. I love you too. Hi, Judy. Good. You're new here from New Orleans? I do love New Orleans, Deborah. I've been to New Orleans a bunch of times. Mostly for the beignets and the coffee. But it's pretty amazing. I love New Orleans. Hi, Nicole. Hi, Winnie. Good. And so, while you're showing up, if you could share this out into the world, that'd be great. Happy Monday, Patty. Any sort of groups or places or wherever people share stuff, that'd be great. Hi, Rochelle. And hi, Sherry. Yes. And if you haven't already followed the Traveling Intuitive page, I'd love that. Hi, Barb. And while you're showing up, while you're sharing, I will also share. Hit the heart button if you like crystals. I like crystals. I'm hitting the heart button. Da, 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 da. It's a I like crystals. You know what? There's certain things that I like to have around. That's just like, I don't know, sometimes you need some, self-care items in your space that make you feel good. And, hi, Amy. And a lot of people, they find a lot of comfort and different qualities to crystals. And I know a lot of people who collect them, who sell them, who are really into the world of crystals. I know, I'm not an expert, but I have lots of people in my life who are experts. And inside of my life, I think I've collected for myself probably like 3 different kinds of crystals on a consistent basis. So one is amethyst. Hit the heart button if you like amethyst. Amethyst has always been great. It's this guy. It's this. Amethyst is always nice because It's great for intuitive growth and intuition and connecting to yourself intuitively, and connecting to the things around you. It's great. It's very calming. It helps if you're developing your intuition, if you want to stay grounded as an intuitive. So this is always a win for me. Usually all the crystals that I collect for myself are all in the realm of intuition, because that's what I do for a living and for myself. And so, hi, Bobby. And so, and then the other one is selenite, which I have a ton of all over the place. And selenite is great for, creating a calm environment, inside of your, not, quieting down your brain so that you can, connect in mediumship. A lot of people, who are having a hard time connecting to their loved ones that have passed away. And really, a lot of times that connection is difficult because we have very loud brains. Meditation, selenite, Jan says that amethyst is her favorite. What's your favorite? What did, Natasha says, Moldavite? Okay, I love that. The third crystal that I really like, is black tourmaline. Black tourmaline is great for, it's kind of like an energetic way of saying no, to be honest. Like it's something that, you can keep in your pocket, and you feel like you have created some space, and you have created this kind of, this is my energy, that's your energy. So black tourmaline is another. So, if you're developing your intuition, if you're working on yourself, if you're a healer, if you're an empath, amethyst, selenite, and black tourmaline is the way to go. There's Sheila loves selenite. Yeah, there's lots of other crystals that you can look into that I really love. I really love amber. That's another one. Moonstone, pink quartz, any sort of quartz, those sort of crystals. And so I really love I think that they have, I'm not really a woo-woo-y kind of person, if you know me. I'm not, but there's the crystal thing. I think that, there's just a lot of energy involved in that has, that's solid to me like a table. So I really like, crystals because I can, it doesn't feel like it's a woo-woo-y thing. It feels like it's something that has some actual, has some actualness. It's like, it's not something that feels like it's a non-tangible situation. So yeah, I think that adding pretty sparkly things into your life can't be bad, right? Yeah, so that's my story today, and I hope you're having a really good day. I hope you're having a great Monday, and I think that Mercury retrograde's over, so I can't say happy Mercury retrograde anymore, which is great, right? And Stephanie says Moldavite shifts your whole reality. I don't even know what that means, but I feel like I need to get a piece. I don't know, a piece of that. Moldenite. I don't even know what moldenite is. I need to really... Amethyst is your birthstone, Karen? Oh, I love that. Yes. Good. Well, good. Well, thank you so much for being here. And again, I'm going to be using the Wisdom of the Oracle deck. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And hi, Christina. And I'm going to pick every 25th person, as many people as possible. And then at the end, I'm going to pull a card for everybody here. And if you, what else? There's something, oh, I forgot to do this. So, if you want to, book a reading with me, you would go to, this, which I should have figured out ahead of time. So bear with me on oh, there we go. There we go. You can book a reading. Let's see. Okay, I think I figured it out. You can book a reading with me on travelingintuitive.com if you'd like. I'd love to have a reading with you. And, all right, I figured it out. This is something that you should figure out ahead of time. And I didn't. Da, 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 and I'll pin it there. Okay, and so I left it there for you. So let's get started. And thank you so much again for being here. Hi, Jennifer. I can't wait to talk to you tomorrow morning. Good. Okay, good. Let me get right into the middle here. And, let's see. Oh, hello. Any loved ones that you want to connect to, any questions that you have, please feel free to ask. Okay. Oh, you're right in the middle. Right in the middle is Penny Ross. Hi, Penny Ross. Penny Ross, you are the person right smack in the middle. She says, is Marshall a real person or a bunch of shit? So is Marshall a real person or is he just a bunch of shit? That's what she wants to know. Okay, all right, Penny. Great question. I like your question. Let me pull a card for you. Thank you so much for asking your question. It's a heart button if you feel that way. If you're like, is this person I'm talking to real or is he just a bunch of shit? That's hilarious. All right, let's see here. All right. Okay, and so that's a good question. I would say, so this would be the if the bunch of shit card. When I'm looking at Marshall, it does show up as there's some realities to the person, and they do show up as being attentive in certain ways that feels like you haven't had a certain amount of attention like this in a while. It feels like that you really, when it's on with the person, like you feel really connected to them. But a lot of times it's not. A lot of times it feels like it doesn't make any sense. When looking at, is the person being honest with me? So is the person a real person or is it a bunch of shit? Is the person that they say they are when it comes to how they're communicating? No. Yeah. And you're very intuitive. You already know that. I think that there's hope. You carry hope because you really want to be loved and cared for and shown up for. You want some of the attentive features of this person feels like this feels like something. There's something that's grabbing you about the scenario. The person doesn't show up as being honest about who they're saying they're being. And so it is something where, it does show up as it's something where you will find value in searching in a new direction. When I'm looking at you long term, you do show up as choosing someone else or choosing to open yourself up to a relationship. I think that something about this scenario it's activated something in you around wanting connection, feeling like that you can have connection in a new way. It's just this person's connection is they're not telling the truth. So that's the issue. So it shows up as it's time to go. And I think that when circumstances like this happen, Penny, it does, oftentimes make a person feel like they can't trust themselves or they can't trust whom. I can't trust my picker. And so now I'm just distrusting everybody. Let's not do that. Let's not get in our own way around it. Let's walk into the next part as fresh as possible without holding on to the grudge of this last situation. Because then that person who has already pretended to be somebody they're not with you, then they have a lot of power in you being open to being loved. And that person doesn't deserve any of that power, right? And so we want to allow ourselves to be vulnerable because you deserve love. Yes. Good. Well, thank you so much for asking your question. Okay, I'm going to get to the next person. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And thank you so much for being here and hanging out with me. Happy Monday. Thank you, Jenna. I appreciate you. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Okay, let's see. 25. 25 is Teddy Zollinger. Hi, Teddy Zollinger. Teddy Zollinger says, hey, Candace. Hello. She says, I'd love some advice from my spirit guides. Can you point me in the right direction? Will my house finally sell soon? There's a lot going on. Thank you. Great question. Okay, let me pull a card for you. Thank you so much for asking your question. Okay, Teddy. So, can you point me in the right direction when my house finally sells soon? Okay, great. So let me see here. Good. New life. So, soon being in the next couple months, it's not yours anymore, kind of soon. So I don't know if that's soon for you. If you want to like have it gone tomorrow, then no, not soon. But over the next couple months, it's no longer yours. And so it does feel like it's in really good timing. You do show up as making some, I think that the shifts that you're about to make in your life because of selling this house and making some changes does show up as it started out less drastic than it is today. I think that we have opportunity to make some more risky decisions. And I think that I'd go for it, without telling your business in public. I think that there's, you were going to kind of stay down the middle and, sometimes we just kind of shift into like what feels comfortable, and another version of the same thing kind of feeling. We're coming to a place where we just kind of want to like sell this and have a fresh start sort of feeling. And it feels like it's the best case scenario to do that. You show up as really happy, with a fresh start type of feeling around your life. And so I would be open to that. I think that, inside of, this year, we make tremendous changes that feel like that you're really glad that you took some risks. And I think that we aren't necessarily risk takers, and so, but the things that feel like risk for you also feel, when I'm looking at it, they aren't risks in reality, and it, you show up as the happiest around that. So I think that when we were selling the house, when we were making these decisions at the beginning, it was different than what it is now. The difference of where it's going and what it's becoming, way better than what, so let's take the risk. Let's go for the whole thing. You do show up as, selling a house. Don't reduce the house I think that you're being advised in some way to reduce something. Let's just keep it where it's at. I think that we've already reduced it to a place, that, we probably didn't need to reduce. And so no more reducing. Okay. All right. Good. Good. Well, thank you so much for asking your question. Okay, let me get to the next person. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And thank you so much for being here. Hello. Okay. Oh, thank you for sharing. I appreciate you. Okay, 25. 25 is Bobby Molina. Molina, how are you? Bobby Molina, how are you? She says, retirement or keep on working so I don't get depressed. Oh, good question. It's a hard one if you feel like if you leave your job, that you're leaving your identity. and that you what the fuck am I going to do with my life if I leave my job? That feeling of like, well, sometimes we have one or the other. Sometimes we're like, can I just be retired so that I can do anything else? And sometimes we feel like, I don't even know what my identity is or what I'm going to do if I leave my job. Like, what am I doing after retirement? And so Bobby's question is retirement or keep on working so I don't get depressed. Okay, let me pull a card for you. Thank you so much for asking your question. Okay, Bobby. Okay, round and round. So, I think that if we're looking for the best case scenario, right, it does show up as you staying in for what looks like another, like a little less than 2 years. It feels like that, because a lot of your identity is wrapped around the job part, and right now, and for the next 2 years, we've kind of like dived into our work, and even though it's not your passion, it doesn't make you happy per se. There's something financially that's a win if you stay for the next almost 2 years. And there's something around, over the next 2 years, you gaining a lot of new things that you don't have in your life now, that by the time we get to retirement, we're shifting into something else. And so when I'm looking at you, you don't go from retirement to like watching Family Feud reruns 24 hours a day, we're not like going to like, when I look, you have some proneness toward depression. And so it makes sense that you're asking that specific question, but you don't show up as, when I'm looking at you, if you left today, here's what it is, I'll equate it to this because it has it seems like it makes sense to you as well. If you left today, you'd be leaving and as if the same way as if you got divorced and you were single, and then you don't have like the next partner, which is super functional. You don't need to have an ex-partner. For you, if we left to 2 years, or about, a little bit less than 2 years from now, you do show up as like jumping from one thing to the next, one partner to the next, right? And so we feel like we have a lot more things in our life. Almost 2 years from now, you show up as having connection when it comes to relationships, having more friendships, having more of an understanding of what you want for yourself inside of your own life, down the road. And so it does feel like that we don't have those understandings today. So if we quit today or we retire today, yeah, it feels like you're kind of blowing in the wind. But 2 years from now, you don't feel that way. So I'd be open to like kind of balancing it between both. Yes. Good. Well, thank you so much for asking your question. Okay. All right. Let me get to the next question. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. And thank you so much for asking and being here. Yes. Okay. Okay, 25. 25 is Melissa Gathers. Melissa Gathers. Hi, Melissa Gathers. Melissa Gathers says, is my son going to be okay? His anxiety is bad. Okay, let's hit the heart button if you have anxiety or depression, or you have children that have anxiety or depression, or people that you love that have anxiety or depression. I think it's really difficult. It's a difficult direction. Sometimes it comes upon people and they don't feel like they have any control over it. Sometimes it's circumstances in life. Sometimes it's a little bit of both. But Melissa says, is my son going to be okay? His anxiety is bad. Okay, let me pull a card for you. Thank you so much for asking your question. Let's see here. Okay, and so co-create. So, when it comes to your son, is he going to be okay? Yes. You know, I think that when I'm looking at him, he does have a what somebody would see as a pretty extreme amount of anxiety when it comes to it being something that's consistent. So it's all the time. It's something that never turns off kind of feeling. It does show up as something that's just for right now. It does show up as something that is managed down the road when it comes to, you know, some sort of management around it, because I don't see him as he moves forward, even inside of this next year, having this level of feeling this sort of fight or flight in him. Like for him, it's really like a lot of that sort of like cortisol, nervous system, you know, feeling of just like, I can't calm myself down. I can't figure out how to feel okay inside of myself. It does show up as there's some shifts and changes when it comes to that. You're giving him all the tools and you're doing a really great job as a mom. And I think that it's, I think that for him, it feels like it's a lonely journey, this, the anxiety part, but it's a temporary journey. And, it does feel like that he gets to have a new relationship with himself. He gets to start over in a new relationship with himself without the anxiety. So, it does feel like this year we're managing it. We're figuring out like, what are my tools? What are my tools to like find my way around it? And you're helping him with his tools and you're doing a great job. Then into this next year, because of the tools that you're working on as a family, it does feel very much like he doesn't have anxiety, or has like a regular, like, not a regular, but like who doesn't have anxiety, but doesn't have like that sort of intrusive thought anxiety, which is what he has. It's just a constant barrage of, you know, getting kind of pummeled with anxiety. And so, I think that that's the big change. And then it's not something that shifts back to something that hurts him more in the future. So you're doing all this stuff right, but I'm sure it's super stressful. You got to be gentle with yourself as well. You have anxiety. It's just a different kind of management around it. And so he shows up as managing it quite well here into this next year, and you help him do that. And then it feels like that we have the tools and then we utilize them. And so he's going to be okay. Yes. Good. Well, I'm sending you lots of love, and your family lots of love, and anybody who has anxiety or depression. I think that it's difficult. It's sometimes it dictates a lot of the decision making we have. It dictates how we feel about ourselves. It dictates on how comfortable we are in the world. And sometimes it's genetic in our family. Sometimes it's, you know, the circumstances of our life. So I'm sending lots of love to anybody who manages anxiety and depression for sure. Yes. Okay, good. Good. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thank you, everybody, for sending her lots of love. Yes. Okay, good. Let me get to the next person. Also, if you want to get a private reading with me, you'd go to travelingintuitive.com to book a session. I'd love to have a reading with you. I have 30 minutes and 1 hour openings this month on my website, travelingintuitive.com. And I have a link there. I don't know where there is on your screen, but it's right here on mine, right there. So for some people, it's right here. And, yeah. And so, and so let me see here. Okay. I'm going to get to the next person. And please feel free to ask anything you would like. Patty Nicholson. Yes. Yes. Great question. Ah, hello. Okay, 25. 25 is Donna Pro. P-R-O-W. Hi, Donna Pro. Donna Pro says, my friend betrayed me. Any regret? Ooh, good question. Hit the heart button if you've been betrayed by a friend. She says, my friend betrayed. My friend betrayed me. My friend did. My friend betrayed me, she said. Any regret? Well, that's a great question. Let me see here. Let me pull a card for you, Donna. I'm sorry that your friend betrayed you. Yeah, I think that the hardest thing about betrayal in a relationship or a friendship is that, it just feels like oftentimes the person that's betrayed feels caught off guard, and it feels like this is a quality that you would never do to the other person. So you assume that, the person, or you falsely assume, right, that the other person would never do that to you. And so it just causes this confusion in us, right? And so my friend betrayed me. Any regrets? Okay, let me pull a card for you. Thank you for asking your question. Okay. All right, a change in the wind. So, the question is, does my friend have any regret? No. Your friend has made up a story to make themselves the good guy in the situation. So the friend who betrayed you has made a scenario up inside of them that makes them believe that you deserved whatever happened, and that they are the innocent one and you are the problem. And so, no, they don't show up as having regret. I think that your friendship meant something to them. It doesn't feel like that the person is a monster. I think they're self-preserving because they made a poor decision and they hurt somebody that they care about. And so instead of being like, oh my gosh, I hurt you, they're doing something that I think is, oftentimes, human beings do, when they have a hard time communicating or emotionalizing things, which is, making you the problem. So, oftentimes it's a narcissistic trait as well, right? And so, and that's sort of like gaslighting you into believing that you're the reason why they hurt you, right? And so, that's what the person is doing. And they are in the belief that they deserve to do whatever they did and that you should have experienced that. And so it's not true. It's not true. And you're not necessarily like a bad picker with friends either. When I'm looking at you, you have friendships that are valuable. This one's not one though. And I think that you invested a lot of yourself into this person. And I think that you were kind of drawn into the scenario of this person. And I also think that it's just not something that feels personal. It shows up as this person does this in all situations. So it isn't a gotcha and it's just you. And then normally they're like functional people that do functional stuff. They're jerks all the way around. And so, that hurts still. And you also, when I'm looking at you, you have good discernment and you have good judgment when it comes to the people around you. And oftentimes, even though that's the case, somebody can slip through the cracks. And this person you have a history with. And so sometimes when we have history with people, we keep them around like family when we subconsciously know maybe it's time to call it. And so that's what happened. But you can trust your judgment. Yes, around it. And this person hurt you, but there's not like a long line of people that are coming around the corner to hurt you. Yes. Okay, good. Good. I'm sending you lots of love. I'm sorry that happened. And to anybody who's betrayed by a person, when it comes to relationships and even family, family members or people that just don't know how to show up properly for one another. I think that, all of that. I think that it can be very like jarring, especially when it's kind of a narcissistic, codependent thing, you know, where you like a codependent like leans all the way in, and then the narcissist is like, haha, you know, I gotcha. And it hurts. And so and then they gain something by hurting you. And so it's a little bit, it's that. But it does feel like, you know, there's also like a big history with you two where you showed up for her for something. And so it feels like it was hard to let it go. Yes. Yeah. I think that sometimes in relationships, when people don't know how to say goodbye to one another, let's say one of the people are like, oh, I just want this relationship to be over. I hate it, but I'm not going to leave because I don't want to hurt the other person. Or like there's not enough reasons to say goodbye. Oftentimes they'll sabotage it. And we sabotage relationships by hurting the other person, you know, in some sort of way. And so we can't just say, you know what, this isn't working out for me anymore, because would be too honest, right? What we do instead is we cheat on the person, or we, you know, become this person that isn't very nice or something like that, where we beat the relationship up to death. And that's the scenario here. And so instead of the person saying, you know, what they're thinking and feeling, they beat it up. And so the hope is that we have as little amount of people like that in our life as possible. Yes. Marcy Kavanaugh, yes. Lindsay Long. I mean, it's in your best interest too. Financially and personally, it feels like it's a risk, but it feels like it's a super positive risk. Yes. It ends well. So yes, I would. Okay, 25. 25 is Amanda Reason. Hi, Amanda Reason. Amanda Reason says, well, I guess she said it because she wrote it and she didn't just say it right now, said, is my relationship going to survive our current situation? Okay, great question. Is my relationship going to survive our current situation? Okay. All right, let me pull a card for you. Thank you so much for asking your question. Hit the heart button if you are trying to, like, you're going through these hard tunnels inside of our relationship. I think that's every relationship. Sometimes we're on the same path with one another, and sometimes we're veering. Sometimes we're going in completely different directions. Sometimes somebody changes, and we don't change together. And then we survive it together, or we don't, right? And so is my relationship going to survive our current situation? Let's see here. Great question. All right, peace. Yeah, I mean, you two show up as continuing to be together. I think that we need to have new rules. Right? And so the current rules don't work anymore because the current situation is intense, right? And so the other person wants to continue to be with you, and you continue to want to be with this person, and you two show up as loving each other. And so, but the rules have changed, and we need to gain trust. We need to gain new connection. We need to gain a lot of new ways of connecting with one another, and both people have to try. And when I'm looking at YouTube, both people try. Both people try. Both people decide to choose love. Both people, for you and the other person, does feel like that both of you show up as getting closer, not farther away from each other, because of the situation you're surviving together now. And so that's the the best case scenario, is that we come up against a hard wall and then we climb it together, and we feel stronger together. But sometimes we carry a lot of resentment and lots of different feelings that we can't let go. And so it'll be you doing some of that, and the other person doing some showing up for you in a new way that's that repairs some things. And so I think that, yes, both of you show up as being able to be better inside of the relationship. The relationship gets better because of the hardship. Okay, good. 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 Well, thank you so much for asking your question. Okay, I'm going to get to 2 more people in the comments, and then I'm going to pull a card for everybody here. So stick around for that. And thank you so much for being here. Yes. Okay, let's see here. Okay, 25. 25 is Barbara Siegel. Hi, Barbara Siegel. Barbara Siegel says, does Justin have a mutual attraction with me? Does Justin have a mutual attraction with me? Great question. Hit the heart button if you have a friendship, or you have like the hots for somebody, or a crush on somebody, or feelings for a friend. And then like it's always very blurry. Like you're unsure if the person is like feeling any certain way in return, or, you know, if like nobody's speaking up. Everybody's just trying to like, you know, everybody, that both parties, or at least one party, is feeling like they don't want to express themselves because they don't want to be vulnerable, right? And so does Justin have a mutual attraction with me? I like how you asked that question. Have a mutual attraction with me. With. All right, perfect. Let me pull a card for you. Thank you so much for asking your question. Let's see. Okay. All right. And so, so when it comes to that, happy. Does Justin have a mutual attraction, with me? Justin is, so yes. Okay. And so attraction being, what finds you physically attractive, right? Attraction being like wants you around, and doesn't know, is in looking at his ability to be a functional partner, or to be like somebody who can show up well. He hasn't, you know, and I think it's harder. It's harder, and it's because he has fears. You know, he has fears around, he has fears. He has a lot of fears around, feeling trapped in things, right? And so Justin is allergic to commitment, and that's what I'm trying to say. And so does Justin have a mutual attraction to you? Yes. Justin is under the impression that if he were to exercise that attraction, you would want to trap him. So shows up as his timidness is around entrapment when it comes to, I think that is his understanding of all things that are the same over and over again, is that he feels unsure or insecure. And so, yes, he has the same feelings for you as you do him. And I would have more conversations around what you, that you don't want to trap him. You know, I would have more conversations about what it is that you're actually wanting in your life. And, you know, it does feel like that this is something that shifts into more than what it is now. And it does feel like that once we get there, we just want to know, we want to be clear about what our expectations are. I think that if you're looking for Justin to like all of a sudden become a different dude that doesn't feel trapped and stuff, you know, that feels not real, right? But if we can be honest about you know, all of those things, and then it feels like that he can be softer around the edges about it, and he does show up as just really finding you to be interesting and unique and attractive and all the things, and vice versa. You do show up as having a mutual connection to one another. And so I think it does shift into more than what it is today. And so somebody speaks up to it, but it does feel like that once we get there, we just want to lay it all out on the table on what we're able to do and what we're not able to do. And I think that for him, he has a harder time with consistent showing up, without feeling like it's heavy or a weight is sitting on him. So obviously that's something he needs to work on, but he hasn't worked on it all this time, and he's not young, and so it's something where it's something to pay attention to. And sometimes we do this thing where we're like, but when he's with me, he's going to change these things. And sometimes that's the case, and sometimes meaning a very small amount of times, most of the time, a person is what you see is what you get. I think that what you assume, around it is true. And so it's just, that's what it is. And so I think that if we're all like being truthful around everything, then there's nobody's feelings getting hurt. That's good. Well, thank you so much for asking your question. Okay, I'm going to get to one more person, and then I am going to, hello. I'm going to pull a card for everybody here. And, again, hello. Again, if you want to get a private reading with me, you go to travelingintuitive.com to book a session. I'd love to have a reading with you. Okay. Oh, hello. Aww. 25 is Tina Malicki. Is that it? Balicki? Balicki. Hi, Tina. Tina said just started a few new career endeavors. A few new. Nice. Okay, so just started a few new career endeavors. Will I be successful? Great question. Thank you so much for asking your question. Okay, good. Let's see. A few new career endeavors. Okay, let's see here. Okay. All right, let's see. Imagine. So, when it comes to your career endeavors, you do show up as having one in particular, and it's one you've gone back to over and over again, and you do it, and then it doesn't like give you the return you're looking for. And probably quick enough, or it feels like, like this is not something that you get busy doing other things and then you drop it and then you pick it back up, and we've picked it back up. There's other things that you've picked up too, but there's this one particular thing that you keep going back to over and over again, and it does show up as, giving you financial security. I think success for you is security, financial security. I think you need to feel good about what you're doing, but it feels like I just need like something to have, like to pay my bills and to feel like I don't have to I want to do something that feels like it's, and then I don't have to work for somebody else. I don't have to go in a direction where I'm kind of selling myself, type of way. And so, it feels like that with the few endeavors. I think the few endeavors show up as turning into one endeavor, and the one endeavor that works, does show up as the one you keep like circling back to over and over again. And then being like, you get into it and then you're like, this time around we stay consistent. We stay in it. You show up as being able to shift into this next year with way more financial security because of it, and then we stay in it. And so, yes, it does feel like that the direction you're going, the that one endeavor shows up as not a new endeavor. The newer ones feel like that they are the set aside things, and you go back to like the thing that you keep bringing back in over and over again, but feeling frustrated with. It feels like you're giving yourself all the opportunity to be all in with it. And it does feel like it's something that in turn into this next year feels like you gain financial security around it. So yes, I think that few turns into one. And it turns into one really quickly. I think the other ones kind of fall flat. There's something you're doing that has connection to somebody else, and that relationship feels like it shifts. And so it feels like that it's that tried and true, like you keep bringing it back into your life feeling. That is the one that you ultimately choose. Yes. Good. Well, thank you so much for asking your question. And thank you everybody for asking your questions. And I'm here on Mondays and Wednesdays at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time doing psychic readings and mediumship. And so please feel free to come back. And if you want to get a private reading with me, you go to travelingintuitive.com to book a session. I'd love to have a reading with you. And I want to pull a card for everybody here. There's so many wonderful people here. So thank you so much for being here. And this card is for the 70 people who are here and anybody who's here in the future. Yes. Okay. Okay. So, got it. All right. And so our card is Never Ending Story. So, Never Ending Story is all about overthinking. Hit the heart button if you overthink. Overthinking, I don't know what the word overthinking is. We just think. Hit the heart button if you think about things way more than you want to. Hit the heart button if you feel like, oh no, where'd the card go? Hit the heart button if you feel like this card that I can't find now. Is it at the bottom? Where'd it go? Oh man. Yes, and so there it is. They feel like this lady who's just like, having intrusive thoughts, obsessing about things, feeling overwhelmed by things, sitting on a clock that feels like it's about to, expire, feeling overwhelmed, overthinking. And so, overthinking is, overthinking. I mean, the card is about overthinking, but let's use a different word because I don't know, like what does overthinking mean? Thinking like on a level that makes you feel like, I don't want to think this much. And so this week you want to pay attention to some stuff. The overthinking thing is, thinking a lot thing, to a point where it stresses you out. Can look like a lot of different things. A lot of times it looks like, a couple of different noises. One is like the tasks that we have to finish to like make it to the end of the day. And there's usually another, sometimes more discreet voice, but sometimes even louder voice, which is talking in your head about how shitty you are. And so hit the heart button if you've got that guy in your head. The one that's just like, you didn't do that right. You're gonna fail. You are dumb. You are ugly. You are blah, blah, blah. Like the thing where we like are in a constant state of judgment around ourselves in some sort of way. And so not only is our brain like, oh shit, I'm trying to survive. There's this other part of our brain that's like, you're not gonna survive, you dummy. And so we have this oftentimes negative, thing going on up there. And sometimes it's something that's been going on for so long that, it's normalized. Like you just don't even know. Like it's just like, well, like it's just things like, and sometimes the second we wake up and we put our feet on the floor, there it is. There's like, oh, here we go. It's Monday. I'm, like better get out of bed, I gotta get to this dumb job. Like it's hard sometimes with the tape in our head that repeats over and over again, to feel like that we can find joy. And sometimes it's hard for our brain that especially if it has obsessive thinking and just like, going on and on, to feel like that you have any sort of moment that's just not your brain or a quieted version. When you notice times where your brain's like, you're great. How often is that? And how often is it praising you? How often is it not looking for a problem to solve? And so, your brain's job, it has a job. Like your liver has a job, and your heart has a job, and your kidneys have a job. It has a job. Its job is to keep you alive. That's its job. And we don't say, I am my kidneys. It has a job, and it's in there, but we don't associate with it the same way that we associate with this guy up here. Right. And so we give it a lot of space. And so, that's its job. Its job, literally, our brain's job is to find problems and solve them over and over and over and over again to keep us alive, to help us survive. Right. And depending on how hard or easy or like the start of our life or the, trauma, no trauma, like all the things in our life, is how much problem solving our brain does. How many problems does it find? And then how fast is that problem solver? And is it just like going from one problem to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next? And does it have, or is it a slower problem solver? That's doing its job. It's keeping the organs alive. It's, it's keeping us from falling off the bridge. It's keeping us tying our shoes. It's keeping us driving our car. And so, we all have different kind of stories when it comes to our brain, but this week, there's something valuable in you being able to look at it and from a point of view of like a watcher, like you're watching your brain, do its thing. Sometimes if we can just sit still and you don't have to have resistance. You don't have to resist your brain or be like, oh, here it goes again. It's just going and going. How do I stop this thing? It's a problem you're trying to solve, right? So your brain is giving you another problem to solve. Sometimes just watching it. Sometimes watching it like it's like kind of like watching a movie and just feeling like, what is going on in there? And sometimes if we can just look at it, and because it becomes like the background noise of our life, but if we can look at it right up front, we can shift and change some of it. I think that it's harder to do that when it's not something that's observed in any way. So observing your brain is the boring version, is meditation. Doing some guided visualization meditation. You can DM me and I can send you some great visualization meditations to quiet down your brain and those types of things, or just make it like a tolerable noise. And then there's all sorts of other ways of connecting into ourselves where we're giving ourselves some grace, and we're, there's affirmations, there's, different ways of quieting that guy down, where we're doing things that bring us joy and we're not believing the hype of all of the problem solving all the time, and we're taking a vacation from it. And so the easiest way is probably the guided meditation, visualization meditation part. And so it's annoying to meditate, it's annoying because your brain sees it as a problem. And so usually when you sit down to meditate, your brain's like, you're hungry. What are you doing? Your legs asleep. Or you'll just immediately go to sleep. You're meditating and you're like, okay, I'm going to fucking do this. Like, I'm going to fucking listen and just be really quiet and quiet it down. And then you just go right to sleep and your brain's like, ha ha ha, got you, And so, it's your brain's a tricky guy that is not really into like being quiet. And so, a lot of meditation is it's kind of like babysitting a small kid that's yelling in your ear, that you go, not right now. I'm going to be quiet. I'm going to just sit here anyway. I'm not getting up. And a lot of meditation is consistency. It's being able to stay put and just show up to yourself. And so I think our problem solver can get very loud. And so this week, see if you can pay attention to that guy. See if you can pay attention to this. The second you put your feet on the floor, is there stuff? Is it like, you know, and is it hard to go to sleep at night because of it? And does it feel stressful, and it adds a lot of stress to your life? And then what can we do, small things to shift it, and so that we can have more joy, we can have a break, we can have a breath. A lot of people I know do breath work. You know, there's that, the meditation part, there's doing different things when it comes to crystals and saging and, taking walks, exercising. Lots of people have all sorts of different directions. It's finding your direction. Yes. And even if you're just quieting down just the tiniest bit, a lot of times that can be like sound therapy, where you like listen to like different sounds when you sleep. And, so, if you want I can send you some visualization meditations that are like 7 or 8 minutes long that are helpful for that, or like the sound therapy part. Reach out if you'd like. DM me or whatever. Is it DM me? What does DM mean? DM. So direct message me. Send me a message and I can send you some YouTubes that might be helpful. But yes, taking some time that is just for you. And I think some people, they gain that from being outdoors and gardening and all sorts of different things. So everybody's got their different way of quieting it down. I think that sometimes it's hard to find it, though. Yes. God, well, I'm sending you lots of love. And I'm hoping you have a beautiful week. And my brain is really quiet. That's why I'm intuitive. Intuition and brains don't work together. They don't work together. My brain is, I hardly use it, to be honest. I think that, it does like all the stuff it should. Like I can drive my car. I can do all the things in life. My organs are working, and so it's doing a great job. It's just, it's not at the forefront. It's not the loudest guy, for sure. Intuition is the loudest guy. Yes. And so a lot of times people work on their intuitive development to quiet down their brain. That's really helpful as well. And so, yes, finding your way for that. Yes, everybody's got their own direction. Good. Well, you're everything you're looking for. And I can't wait to see you on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And thank you so much for being here. I'll see you soon. Okay. All right. Bye.